Take a look at our daily and weekly bullish and bearish breaks and a little market recap. And most everything's in the bears, as we all know. A lot of these are not from consolidation. That's what this is all about, is finding breakouts in normal times for consolidation breaks. But these are momentum stocks. So even though they're not breaking out of consolidation, they are stocks that are building momentum, and once they get into that space, continue many times in that direction. As we know, the verbal tariff wars are driving the markets right now, and we got a big sell-off about 7 o'clock on Thursday night after the latest verbal response between the two parties, and we gapped down pretty well on Friday morning, got a little slight boost off the jobs numbers, and then sold off in the late afternoon, and I pretty much spent the day looking for shorts. The Dow still holding in this area here. The SP 500 is a much more important indicator. I got a lot of lines on this chart. I need to get some of them off if I can. Hold on. I guess first I'll tell you why they were there. This is the 200 day. This is the 50 day. This was all pre-market action on the SPY. I got a chart that's gapped up, gapped down pre-market, and it's active, not just ticking. I will mark the highs and lows pre-market and after hours from the night before. And I also like to take the 8 a.m. spikes on any of those stocks. You usually get a big ugly candle that's got wicks on both ends around 8 a.m. Sometimes it takes a couple of minutes to make a lower one and an upper one, and I'll put a mark on that. Computers bought and sold those stocks on those levels, and I'll mark those levels, and they always come into play. And I had done that on the SPY here. I think the 262.82, if I remember right, was the low after 8:30 a.m. when the job numbers came out, and the 264.06 was the high right in that 2 or 3 minute period. And then the 262.30, that was the low from the night before. So I kept those on my chart during intraday trading on Friday. Sometimes I'll mark these lines on a stock, and I may leave them there for weeks, and it'll amaze you how many times some stock had gapped down hugely and then lost it or whatever. It'll go back and revisit those levels later. I think I've had lines on Celgene for a month from a previous gap down. So only time I draw horizontal lines, that's what it's in reference to. The SPY broke the 200 day. This is that weekly trend line that I drew across the bottom of a weekly chart going back a couple of years up here that we are piercing. And the SP 500 is much more important. Here's your 200 day. We took it out multiple times and barely got back above it on Friday intraday. And if you'll notice, this long wick went back into this weekly trend line that I drew on this stock going way back here, all the way into February 2016. Now we pierced that. Now I'll have to reset that trend line or draw another one, is what I'll actually do, because that is support, and we've tested it twice. We haven't closed below it yet. Tested it more than twice. The 200 is key here, and the market almost lost it. You have a market imbalance on orders that comes in somewhere between 3 and 330 most every day. Usually it's around 300 million, and nothing really happens. When it's greater than that, sometimes you'll get a market move, depending on how much greater. I've seen it 650 million on the buy side or the sell side, and actually move the market in the last 30 or 40 minutes of trading. On Friday at 3:15, the sell side order imbalance was $1.1 billion. If that had not lessened going into the close, which it did by about 20 to 4, that was down to 300 million. If that had maintained, we go over the edge and we go over strong into the close. We were just right on the verge there of being a really probably another 400 or 500 point drop in the Dow into the close. So be wary. Any new verbal back and forths on the tariffs is going to continue to move this market. We could easily gap down on Monday morning, and if we do, this becomes our resistance, and the 200-day is going to be right in there as well. So the market still remains nothing but a good day trading mechanism. It's not for swing trading, not for building positions, not for trading options because they are so expensive right now. We'll take a look at what did show up. These are all gaining momentum, of course, and the stocks that were on the momentum list on Thursday ended up being some good stocks for Friday. This was the ES on Friday. This doesn't actually show the big sell-off on Thursday night. This was Friday morning. This was Thursday night here on this bigger sell-off. So when the market bounced using our STS pivot system, this is all I expected us to get, and that's all we got. This was a little bigger time frame. I run these out on 3 different algos, this being the shortest, and this is the middle, and then I got a bigger one. It's actually still above the bigger one, kind of up in this kind of area. But when we got this bounce here, going into pre-10 o'clock, which was this bounce right here on the smaller chart, I really didn't expect us to get any further. If we'd have gone much further, I'd have had hope we might have bounced and headed on up, but we didn't, and we started drifting down, and that was this drift here. This little spike right here represents right in here actually, and this is about where we lost it at, about 130. It started accelerating down, got in 3 nice shorts, INC, YV, RTX, and AMGen. I had already been stalking those for shorts anyway, so just stepped right into those, and all 3 of them were really, really good shorts into the close during this one period here for about an hour, hour 20 minutes. Managed to stay in them, didn't get shook out on the bounces, and got some really nice trades. Our advanced decline line, this is where we shot up early. This is just the open gap down, doesn't really mean anything. I like to start here, and we got the progression up to around 10 o'clock, then we went mostly sideways after that little pullback for quite a long time to about 10:30. Got that sell off a little early right in here, and then we went sideways again, and then this is where we lost it late day, right in here around 1:30, and we got a pretty good sell off. This is a SPY overlaid with this on a shorter time frame chart, but the bigger time frame as well, lost it right here, and that's what I'll look at my next step up. And if it starts to go negative, then start really looking for shorts, and it did at this same time. We had no daily bull breaks, of course, and for the week we only had 3 weekly bull breaks, and this stock's still holding up here pretty well on the weekly. ICPT actually had a green day, pretty strong day. It was another crazy stock, PRCX, PCRX, something. Gave this big monster $10 candle or $13 range, whatever that was going on there. I'm sure it's heavily shorted. Don't know what broke it out. It was about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I saw it, and it had done this number. It was back down in here when I saw it. I wasn't actually, not something I get out and try to look. I don't try to trade it because it's so unpredictable. It did all the ranging it was supposed to do, and this was after hours out here actually. Just too risky for me. I can't predict what something like this is going to do. I mean, it's obvious when it gets up here, it's probably coming down, but it's ranging so far back and forth, it'll just eat your lunch unless you say, I'm going to get short, and I don't care if it gets $2 or $3 against me, I'm going to stay with it. If you do that, you can trade it. I'm not going to give that much money away because I don't know if it's going back up or not. So anyway, it was a crazy move on that stock. This is a weekly bullish candle on this stock, hit the 50 week. Not real sure what's going on there. Those are only 3 weekly bulls all week. This stock on the daily is holding the 200 day up here. Had 2 or 3 good days this week, so whether it can hold this or not, that's a pretty good little reversal candle on the daily. Weekly bears, we had 33 stocks of 5,000 we're scanning here now that came into the bear zone on our weekly, gaining momentum. If they're not breaking out of consolidation on a weekly chart, then they're just gaining momentum down. So review those stocks and see what you see. NC, of course, was a huge gap down on the weekly, and this is another example. I drew all these lines pre-market. You see the high right here was 69.49. The 69.50 was the pre-market high. So by drawing that pre-market high, I knew this was going to be a resistance point if it ran up, and expected it to run up, and it did kind of earlier in the day. But you can see now it's 69.49 high day regular trading hours. 69.50 was a high pre-market. $68 was a high after 8 a.m. and $64.99 I believe was the low pre-market that I drew on there. This ended up being a really good, got it actually multiple times, not a lot of times, right here when it ran up early and hit that 69.50 line. This was pre-market. There's your pre-market right there. This was the low early, 64.99. It did breach that right before the market opened, and when it ran back up middle of the day, where'd it go? That's where you got your 64.49, right back to that line. That's why this matters. And so I had that line on the chart. So, and then I had a $68 line, was this right here. It's 8 a.m. Somewhere I picked that up pre-market. I did not draw that after the market opened, but it did right here. You can see it referenced it and stopped at 10.10 to begin with, pulled back and ran again. I never took this long. I took it short here early, right in here. Got this pretty good little move back down, early trade, real fast, and then we shorted it over here late in the afternoon when the market started selling off. I put this on a bigger time frame watch. I actually run it on my 50 factor. My 50 factor finally went negative right in here. I said, okay, it's time to short NC, and we got short, got this really nice sell off here. Amgen was our other choice for a late day sell off, really nice sell off there, and a VRTX was my third choice at that time. Breaking down in this area. This was around that 130 area. Lost the open price. I've been watching that all morning, and I finally got through that area again. It tested it many times. It was on my short list the whole time. All this movement up and down was always a short, and so then it played out here by watching it all day. Was able to come in, be ready to come in, because I already knew it was a short, and they've been coming down for 2 days. So this was a excellent choice for that market move down. So those are our 3 choices late day, and we got some multi-dollar moves out of all 3 of those stocks. Before we get over to the recaps, you can see that this stock bounced from 152.50 area all the way up to 155. I don't make this trade. I make this trade. I want to trade with the trend. With the trend is a much bigger move and a much more decisive move without all this hoopla here. When this started trying to bounce, if you try to get in this stock, let's say at 153, it takes you up to 153.50, comes all the way back down to 152.85, goes all the way back up to 154, back down again. Do you see the risk involved here? And I don't know what this is going to do. This is an old support line. It may reject right here and just head on back down. Also, this is exactly when the market was teetering on a collapse with those sell side orders. So that's why I could care less about this trade. I didn't miss anything. This is what I traded. Didn't miss a thing right here but risk. So I'll try to trade the trend, and I'll leave the counter trend to somebody else. Get over and take a look at that bigger list of recaps. Now, there's your daily bear breaks. Has been present while I was talking about that, and you got a good look there for your watch list. It's our new shorter format video. You don't even need to watch the last 15 minutes. Those are tutorials on the recap sheets and the charts. If you need the tutorial on the charts or about what the graphs mean in the recap with the yellow and red and green lines on the watch list, go over to 9 minutes before the end of this video, and there's a complete tutorial about the recap grids and about the charts. That's the last part of the video. That's where you'll find the subscribe window, and right after that is where the tutorials are. It's the last 9 minutes of the video. If you're already familiar with that, you don't need to watch when you get to that point. And that's where this subscribe screen will appear right before the tutorial. Be sure to watch our new video series, Swing Trading Watch List, Calls in Action, with charts right off our STS Pivot System charting package. Many charts as they progress through the factors, and you'll be able to pick up on some trades many days ahead of what the bull and bear zone breaks show on the swing trade list. You'll see charts like this that triggered a short back on the 19th and gave this retracement alert that we traded today on the 21st, with the price to re-enter the trade right on the chart, red zone retracement. You'll find out more about that right after the recap grids. We got a section there we're going to tell you about that. Before we get over to the recaps, now you can see that this stock bounced from 152.50 area all the way up to 155. I don't make this trade. I make this trade. I want to trade with the trend. With the trend is a much bigger move and a much more decisive move without all this hoopla here. When this started trying to bounce, if you try to get in this stock, let's say at 153, it takes you up to 153.50, comes all the way back down to 152.85, goes all the way back up to 154, back down again. Do you see the risk involved here? And I don't know what this is going to do. This is an old support line. It may reject right here and just head on back down. Also, this is exactly when the market was teetering on a collapse with those sell side orders. So that's why I could care less about this trade. I didn't miss anything. This is what I traded. Didn't miss a thing right here but risk. So I'll try to trade the trend, and I'll leave the counter trend to somebody else. Get over and take a look at that bigger list of recaps. Now, there's your daily bear breaks. Has been present while I was talking about that, and you got a good look there for your watch list. This video is being brought to you by STS Pivot System charting package for day traders, swing traders, and option traders. Easy to follow charts and scanners, trigger prices right on the charts, on the setups. We teach 2 trades long and 2 trades short. That's all. It's that simple. Just like you see on this chart, the trigger price for this trade was in the corner over here from this point on, with this price posted not to take it up here, and it did not trigger, but it wasn't posted as a trigger anyway. Came back. This is a classic, beautiful setup. Breaks right here. 167.26 was our trigger price. And we developed these same lines where you can overlay them on your shorter term charts. This is a 2-minute. By not taking that trade early when it went up here to 167.11, you avoided this 30-something minute pause here. It's not quite 30, about 15 minutes. This was a 60-something cent pullback by waiting on our trigger price to get in the trade here. And we were predicting that trigger price This didn't go green until this happened. You have that up arrow where we're showing the price to go long at, and as soon as it triggers, it immediately gives a go short because it's so close to flipping back over. So that's exactly where it occurred, was right here. And that is how simple that package is to use. Trigger prices right on your charts. Got a 7-day free trial offer, 10-day money back guarantee. Once you get this set up, it's $69 a month. And we're extending as a courtesy, if you take this package, full access to the website, including the trade room if you want to come in and out of there as well. It's not part of the charting package, but it's an offer we're letting you come in if you want to. And I mentioned this in a video about a week ago that we were going to do this. Any previous member to Day Trader Setups from day one ever paid $1 to us, this $69 fee is waived. You can come in and try the 7-day trial, no outlay of cash whatsoever. If you decide you want to go with this package, then you can sign up. The bears, you had a pretty big 32 stocks came into the bear zone that we just reviewed earlier in the video that we were able to see. And yesterday we only had those few. CONN was on the list, and it gave you a $3 move down today after yesterday showing up on the list. JB Hunt down another 387 today. MDCO down $1.26. RMD down $1.59. So stocks that did show up yesterday or the day before, second day on the list, many of them maintained their downward momentum. And these were a few from earlier in the week that are still selling. That came in way back here, still moving down. And then this was real early, 5 days ago. Stocks that showed up on the bear zone, they could have caught a little bounce in between during the little market bounces. A couple of days we had there. Here's ALGN. It had a net change of $10. But you can see it bounced 2 days with the market and rejected to 50 yesterday morning. Had that big down day. Many of these stocks have been going down for days, and others have bounced around with the market. Amgen was one of those that bounced around with the market, had a big, huge day, and then the market had that sideways day, and Amgen started fading along with that whole sector. So then yesterday, that stock was, and that sector was already weak, and so that's why it was on my top of the list all day long to set up for a trade, especially if the market lost it. And I felt like the market was going to lose it. At times I gave it a little questionable whether I was going to be right or wrong. And I kept trying to watch. If I was wrong and it surged, I wanted to be involved in that too. But ended up it did turn down. And when it turned down, we had a plan of multiple stocks to go to. And this was one of them. I'm going to slide this bar down where you, because these are the last day these will be on the list. Let you get a look at the whole list here. This was these are 5 days. Been on this list for 5 days. 150 stocks. They're just resuming. They're not back in the current new. If they don't have a check mark, they're not back in the bear yet. Although they're still. They were on the list because they broke into the bear zone 5 days ago. As they go down, they recalculate what I call my bear zone, and only the ones with the red check marks are still in the newly calculated bear zone. So a lot of these are just continuation from the 5 days ago being on the list, but there are some that are still maintaining themselves in my bear zone. The bear zone's a little red line on the chart. Even though they went into bear and bounced out, now they're back into it again. So the red check marks are the more weaker stocks of the group that's still on this list. 150 stocks. I'll give this thing a sort for the check marks here at the end. The big list. I'm just moving this down so you can pause the video and get a look at the whole list. This is alphabetical. Be careful. And be sure to watch some of our videos, calls in action, on our STS pivot system charting. It picks up these trades much quicker than this bull and bear zone break does. I'm going to give you that sort here. You can go over to daytradersetups.com, click on Ninja 8 and read a little bit about the charting package, and then there's several training videos out there. I'm going to do a video later today based on trading inflection points, where I've overlaid yesterday's high, today's high, yesterday's close, today's open, so forth, VWAP, into the charts with our overlay of our STS pivot system. And you can see that when they're in the shorts and they go back up, they run, where I say reshort them, you'll find them intersecting with the inflection points for even more verification that a high probability of rejection and going back down or up, whatever the case may be. Most of them will be shorting setups, of course, from Friday's action. We're going to do a whole video on that. It's more training for our subscribers, but we put our training videos out on the web for everybody to watch, because the more you can learn about our pivot system, the more interested you're going to be. Thanks for watching our video. Have a good weekend. Trade safe. See you next week. Be sure to watch our new video series, Swing Trading Watch List, Calls in Action, with charts right off the STS Pivot System charting package, where we'll be viewing some trades as they progress and reviewing the status of them, and you may can pick up some trades many days ahead of these bull and bear break, as you heard us speak about in previous videos. Be looking at STS pivot system charts that'll show you this break right here on Facebook that occurred. Ended up being a $9 run, and then again as it got here, it gave another alert to break down here, and then it triggered here for this short for another $2 run. This is how our pivot system charting package looked early in the morning before 10 o'clock, between 9:45 and 10. This triggered at this price, and before it triggered, when you see this little box right here, it indicates that this box was present, giving you the exact trigger price of that long watch alert. This stock proceeded to go from below 165 all the way up to $173, and all along the way our pivot system charting package kept you in the trade. It never said get out. It never crossed below the line enough to turn it back red, and when it does approach these lines, we use this as well. You do not see any predictions of a reversal yet, and if you don't see the predictions as it pulls back, the trend is really still strong enough that we're going to give a retracement off of this level, and that's where this little box comes in, the trend retracement level. The entry price is right here. This stands for green zone retracement. We're in our green zone. We retrace, and when this occurs, it's when you look here for your entry price, which would have given you the price here and here for these next moves up if you wanted to take intraday trades. Also notice right here at this point in time, about 1:30, as it broke down through the line, it's still saying don't go short. It's predicting the short trigger at 170.95. That's what this little box goes down. This box appears and you have a price. As that price progressed back up, it actually triggered at 120.120 to turn it into red zone. It chopped around here for a bit and then sold off, ended up being over a $2 move. As soon as this box disappears, for either it's no longer a prediction or it is triggered and turns it green to red, this line appears on the chart with the exact price that triggered this and a little trend line. You can even show this big box at the same time if you want to. You got the option to turn that on or off. So it was predicting here, it triggered way over here, and then there's your trade. By waiting on the trigger, you didn't get in early over here. These videos are also going to show you what's set up similar to this. This was breaking down at the time it gave the price in the box, as indicated by this little indicator. There was a box here. Gave you the price ahead of time. This is our favorite trade setup. We fade the green, we go back near to visit, and then we come back and trigger. We like the retracement first. We triggered at 122.53. This ended up being about $1.50 move down. It actually went lower than this, on down below 121 before it started back up. Well, this was intraday on the 21st at 12:10 p.m. when this triggered. All this was a retracement off of this chart on the bigger factor that was setting up the swing trade setup on a 50 factor chart. This had triggered here on the 19th at 12:44. And it's still right on the chart now live because it's never switched back off from red to green. So this stays on that chart until that happens. So 121.85 was the trigger, the retracement. This was 2 days ago. Retraced the next day, and this was where it was at. On the 20th, I actually put this on watch because I'm looking for it to come back down. I had myself an alert that what was going to trigger using this price, red zone retracement, as it was sitting up here. I noted this price off the chart at that time and did myself an alert. So when my alert went off today, I go straight to the chart that we looked at on the shorter time frame. I was in a downtrend, so I was trend trading. I was trading this retracement alert, and I was aware of it. I kind of picked up on this, so you can pick up these type setups the day before that they happen. The charts interact, so the run up, the retracement on the 50 was green on the 25. You interact the two charts together. You already know you're in a downtrend on the bigger factor, and you've got to set up for continuation trade on that bigger factor, which makes this that much more stronger. You can go over to stspivotsystems.com and find out how you can subscribe to this charting system. Be sure to subscribe to our channel while you're here, and follow us on Twitter, and follow us on StockTwitch, and go over to daytradersetups.com, click on Ninja 8 Charting, and you can learn more about our STS Pivot System charting package. Thanks for watching. This is a tutorial on our recap sheet. What you will see here is this column here is the weekly list. It's at the beginning on the weekly bear and bull breaks, the daily bull breaks and bears, depending on which one we're looking at. And then you will have 5 days following. First day, second, third, fourth, fifth. So what's here today will be here tomorrow. We'll shift over to here, then to here, then to here. So you got 5 days you can go back and look. The price here, you got the bull zone trigger price, 36.80. This is the price of the profit since this alert. This is the net change on the stock for today. So tomorrow when this shifts over here, this number will be the same where we triggered it at. That number will stay in here for 4 days. The profit will be shown based on the current price of the stock in the day compared to this price on the alert. Like for instance on this stock, $3.48 profit from this break based on this close price, up 92 cents today. This number is the profit at the high since we alerted it. It's the most profitable it's been. It got up to $4.27 profit, pulled back, closed at $3.48. As you go on over, like this stock here, SMTC, this was the break. This is the profit so far since the first day, $5.61 4 days later, and at the peak it was $6.31 profit. That's what these columns mean. The next part you'll find is this yellow line. It represents what I'm going to show you over here in just a moment. Momentum, it can be on a bull or bear chart. And then trend stability, if it's green, it represents on the bulls, and the bears will show a red line for trend stability. The last part you'll want to know about, there's these check marks. They represent the bull zone as it progresses higher. Could be the same as yesterday. Down here, this could be the bull zone that's gotten higher and higher and higher as this stock went along, and it means it's still maintaining the bull zone levels. Even the new ones, it's staying above them. This is what the bear grid looks like. Looks the very same. Got the weekly, 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4 day, 5 day. So you got a chance to see the stability of the trade. You know if it was up or down today after winning the bear zone the day before. The stability, the momentum, and the bear zone level with the check mark. In the video, we will take this page and we will slide these up and down so you have a chance to pause the video and see every single stock that's in the list. Then we'll move it up where you can see these items, and you can pause the video, and then you can see every single symbol in the list. You can go to your charts and look up what's going on. So that's what's in each one of these grids. The current day, day before, day before, day before, day before. So going back 4 days, you got your weekly there. And all this is right here, something I prepare for myself. I take this day, and this day, combine them into this watch list every day, and that's what I carry forward over to my scanners. And just a quick part about what we mean by these levels changing. This is the bull zone level that the check mark represents, the stock staying above. But the bull zone level when this stock broke out was way down here. This was the first breakout, and then as it recalculated our bull zone, that's what the green check mark means, is it's maintaining momentum. The yellow line represents this line that is our minimum momentum indicator used on down or up trades, and then our bull zone levels where it first broke out. And that's all these mean. Trend stability, this is the line we use here, and we come in and we call it trend stability, and that's what this represents here. This line is solid green rather than dotted. It's something we look at on the lows of the day, not being low enough for us not to qualify for trend stability. So that's all these columns mean. So you'll be able to refer to the strength of the stock that is maintaining high enough lows to stay trend stable, what the profit is if you're staying above the bull zone. That's how you'll use this, and that's your tutorial on the grids. This is a mini tutorial on what the lines mean on my charts if you're a first-time viewer or been a while since you viewed. We're scanning on weekly and daily charts for my condition. When this green line is up, it's my bull zone, and when the red line is up, it's my bear zone. You need to be aware of support and resistance lines and what charts do at levels, and that's what these levels are for. Just quickly as I can do this, and we're going to put a video on YouTube getting more from your swing trading charts that'll be more detailed and look at more stocks, how they react to these lines. But the gist of what you see here is this is what I'm scanning for, and as you can see here, this showed up in the bear zone. It did go down for a few days, but these green lines are support, and that's why it fought for a few days, tried to bounce back up, headed back down again, came right back into the bull zone, bear zone, excuse me, and continued on down. Now the lines, here's what they represent. A green line is a place that a stock went up to and rejected. So as this green line redrew itself every time we made highs right here, and then it stayed across here for reference points, continues the same line here for reference points. Resistance, when you get above it, becomes support. This green line was drawn way back in the history, and when this stock broke above this resistance level, when it came back down, it held it, it held it, it held it, it tested it and held it again and again. That was support. That's why I want you to be aware of what these lines mean. You'll see them on my charts. And then the activity that stocks do, sometimes they go, that's my first target, that's my second target. Many times stocks go target 1, pull back a little, target 2, then they may pull all the way back to 1 and go again if they're continuing an uptrend. In this case, it did the pull back. This blue line is a 50-period moving average. This orange line is a 200. So that's what I want you to be aware of as well. And then I have a pivot system that consists of this blue line at the top, yellow line at the bottom, and my target 1 and target 2. You'll see this particular day this stock gapped down, huge gap down, open way down here. The low on this stock was 169.68. I'm getting that right out of this box over here. And the value of that yellow line was 169.67. Within 1 cent, it held that line and bounced that day for a huge bounce. It's not a support level, but it's where I look for stocks to try to hold. It's where I look, if I'm short, say from here, this is where I'm looking to get out. I'm looking to move 2 levels, target 1, target 2, going up, target 1, target 2. The pink lines all represent places the stock has gone down to and bounced. This pink line is referencing this last pivot low. So as you're selling down into it, it may bounce again. If you get below it, then it becomes resistance. And that's all these lines mean. I just want you to know what they mean going forward. Thanks for watching the video. Let's get started.